Welcome to the Aura Evolution Podcast, a sacred place for you to return home to your soul. I'm Helen Yeaplan, founder of Helen Creates Beauty and the author of the Aura Color Wheel. This podcast is a sanctuary from soul discovery to soul mastery. Each week, we explore aura wisdom, spirit connection, and energy tools to help you embody your light and live your soul's purpose with clarity, joy, and fulfillment. Take a deep breath. Welcome home.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Aura Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Helen Yeaplan. If we are meeting the first time, I am the founder of Helen Creates Beauty and the author of the Aura Color Wheel. It's a soul discovery system, dynamic soul discovery system to identify your soul's purpose through your unique soul aura color. Today, we have a very special guest, another Hay House offer. We actually won the competition at the same time. So I'm so excited to bring her on today. Now, before I introduce the guests this week, I'm going to let you know that this podcast is live at 10 a.m. Pacific time every Monday. So if you're joining us live right now, you're welcome to ask any questions in the comment section. So that way we can answer your questions immediately. And also, this podcast is available on Tuesday on all audio platforms that you do podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, as well as Amazon Music. So a couple upcoming events that I am very excited to share is that this Lionsgate portal, so this weekend, I am going to York, Pennsylvania. So if you are in the New York, DC, Baltimore area, I would love to meet you in person in the New Vision Holistic Expo. I'm going to drop the link here on the comment so that you can grab your ticket. And I will be also doing in-person soul aura and spirit message reading there. You can book a reading in advance, and I'm going to see you there with other 5 Hay House offers. We're going to have a panel, and I will have a talk on Sunday at noon as well. And another exciting news is that our Aura Evolution membership this month's gathering, because it's the Lionsgate portal, it's all about personal empowerment and claim your sovereignty. So that's the theme for this month's gathering. And if you're joining the membership the first time, and right now I'm running a promotion of the first month free. So you can grab the link here and join our live gathering there as well. Okay, without further delay, I'm going to introduce this week's guest, Alicia Das. And she actually just published her book. I actually have a copy right here, Your Angelic Ancestry with Hay House. And regarded globally as the authoritative voice on angelic language, Alicia Das is an angel expert, spiritual teacher, ordained minister, speaker, and author of the Angelic Ancestry. She hosts the Angel and Masters on Smart TV, Premier Summer. So it's coming up, 2026. And the popular podcast, Live Your Love, with 250,000 listeners. So more than 30 years, Alicia has helped people bridge intuitive connection and everyday life, leading more than 500 seminars worldwide in spiritual institutions, angelic communication, healing, and consciously clearing. She's also the founder of Soul Dance, a Los Angeles-based ecstatic dance experience presented internationally and across the U.S. That's so cool. With all proceedings supporting charitable courses. Her viral online quiz, which Archangel Are You, definitely take the quiz, has been taken by more than 250,000 people. So I'm going to bring on Alicia with us today. Welcome, Alicia. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Helen. It's just my delight to be with you.
Yay. I always begin with my podcast guest. The first question is that, have you taken the Soul Aura Color quiz? And what is your Soul Aura Color? Do you resonate with the reading?
Yes, I did take the quiz. I am wearing my color, which is
I love that.
emerald, the healer.
Emerald green. Mhm.
Yes, emerald green, which is one of my favorite colors.
Wow.
And yes, I definitely resonated with parts of it for sure. I mean, I make my living as a spiritual healer and have for
Yes,
many decades. So
that's definitely true. And also, emerald green is also associated to me personally with Archangel Raphael, the angel of all healing. I'm sure you're going to, lead us through that. And I'm also curious to begin our conversation to share a little bit about your personal story. What brought you to do what you do? I know you've been doing this for 30 years, but you also have a pre-med background, in the science field. So tell us what brought you to the angelic realm, and how do you bridge, or reconcile at the, from your science background to the spiritual realm?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Well, for me, yes, everyone in my family are MDs, and I was pre-med. And so it's actually a good combination, because while I am a spiritual healer and a spiritual intuitive, and of course that's mystical and invisible, I love to see results. So my science background, my doctorate is in spiritual science. So I want to see empirical evidence that the work I'm doing is tangibly changing lives. So for me, it was really about allowing the transcendence of the mind with spiritual experiences, which I've been having since I was a very young child, speaking to the angels in their own language. And then also discerning with the mind that what is I'm experiencing is positive and is grounded, is causing measurable change, is allowing us to bring more heaven into earth. And so the mind is a great servant, terrible master. And so it's really about allowing the mind to be present so we don't do a spiritual bypass, and then allowing ourselves to transcend our mind, absolutely surrendering to experience the spirit that is present, which goes well beyond the mind. Even Einstein said, I want to know the mind of God. And someone I recently had on my podcast, and I was on his, was Ervin Laszlo, who brought quantum physics into the public conversation. And what we talked about was spirit and God, and the highest coherence being love. So, at its highest, there's no argument with science and spirit. It's really science proving, if you will, the existence of spirit, and then spirit taking it from there.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And you mentioned that very early on, you already hear the voices or the language of the angelic realm. Can you elaborate a little bit of that? And, what made you to bring it or integrate it, let me put it that way, in your everyday life?
Yes. Well, again, I heard it as a very young child, and it really served to give me that access to spirit. I mean, in rural Indiana in that time, when you start telling people things about themselves that you couldn't know, and things about life that you couldn't know as a young child, it kind of scared them. So I learned to, as I'm sure many of our listeners can relate to, learn to really not share that. And but to keep that access open until a time where I could really, when I left home, and I was able to really explore that in full. And it's very, we not only can we, but I think we must integrate our spiritual awareness in our daily lives, because it informs our life, and it is often the highest purpose of our life, in a way that allows us to live a more effective life, to be in this, which is ultimately illusion, but to live it from a place of altitude. Again, quoting Einstein, he said, you can't solve a problem at the level at which it was created. You must get above it. So having that spiritual perspective allows us to get above what is occurring and to see from a higher perspective, and then to make choices from that higher perspective in our daily lives.
Yeah, it's beautiful that you share that. Although you are not, I'm sure a lot of audience listening will resonate with this, although you know a lot of things, you kind of suppress of voicing it out, but you did not shut down the communication with the spiritual realm, which that's so crucial. Because a lot of people actually right now is disconnected from their intuition, if you know what I mean. So what have you learned about, what happens when you feel disconnected to your own intuition? And what is one simple way that someone can begin to reconnect with their higher guidance?
Well, and by the way, I definitely have a technique for that, but I want to say when I was a young child, because I was kind of frightening everyone around me, I did shut it down for a while. But again, I was a young child. And then actually, and it's in my book, I did have an experience with a very positive extraterrestrial when I was about 9 years old.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they said to me, it was very positive. They said to me, open up your sight, but don't share about it. They said, and so I heeded that, and because it was extremely positive, and I experienced this sound with the craft that I didn't hear again until decades later in doing my work of discovering this beautiful orb at the center of the earth, which helps connects us to grace. And that sound was coming from that craft. So it all came full circle. So I just want to say to people, if you experience a level of trauma or shutting down your intuition, if you're just a little open, just a little sliver of curiosity, spirit will meet you at the point of action. Like if you just allow a little sliver of faith and go, well, I don't know, but I'm just going to be open. And then you start to observe signs, some of that will be angel numbers and just signs in our life, discovering a feather, someone saying just the right thing at the right time. And then I would say, take it a step further. And there's a really simple technique. If you're just like, I know there's something deeper in me, some holy ache, some holy longing for a higher consciousness, for a higher connection, is really just to connect to your breath, which brings you present, and to just breathe in all the love of the universe, spirit, the divine, whatever you call it. And then the key is to listen, to take that divine pause and just to listen and realize you sense angels, the very highest archangels, spirit, God, love, whatever you want to call it, intuition. With your spiritual senses. They are subtle. They're not, you're not going to hear the voice of spirit like you're hearing my voice. You're not going to see a vision as clearly as you're seeing our images on the screen. It's subtle. And you've got to just take that pause and go, okay, what do I see right now? What's in my inner vision, my inner eye? And then go, I'm seeing this beautiful color. I'm seeing this face. I'm seeing the tip of a jewel-toned robe and a wing, whatever it is you're seeing. And then to go further into that and go, okay, what am I feeling? I'm feeling, I'm starting to exhale a bit of peace. What inner sound am I hearing? So, even Joan of Arc, how else would the angels speak to me if not through my imagination? She actually said, angels and God speak to me if not through my... So imagination doesn't mean that she was making it up. No, I don't think anybody believes Joan of Arc was making up the higher voices, by the way, one of which was Archangel Michael. It's inward, it's inner, subtle senses. And you realize, I've already been experiencing angels. I've already been experiencing something higher. I just wasn't calling it that. Let me just give it a little more attention. Attention is a way of praying.
Prayer. Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. That reminds me of a quote that I often use, is that prayer is how you talk to God, and meditation is how we listen to God. And that, listen to that inner voice, that pause, that going inward is so important to hear the subtlety when that energy is trying to communicate with us. And often than not, a lot of us, it's like, as you mentioned, I also love that you put into the imagination and knowing that the truth of it, you know, because some people also doubt it. If they receive it, they experience it. I'm sure a lot of us did receive it. And then, but sometimes they doubt it. Oh, did I just make this thing up? You know, is it like real because it's not physical? And, you know, I highly recommend you to trust it and give a name, just like Alicia just said, give it a name that said that's a higher guidance.
Mhm.
And sometimes I tease it to try it out. If you hear an inner voice, to try it out, to have the leap of faith. And if you follow that guidance, if life really works out, you know, much more fluidly, and, you know, like you actually get a response. So that's kind of my fear of like whether that's something that you just make it up, or whether something that's from the higher guidance. Would you agree to that? Like when people kind of started to doubt, if they experience that, but they are not sure about whether that's angelic voice or higher guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, I think it's a little bit of you know how to make an oyster, to make a pearl, there's got to be grit in the oyster, right? So we've got to, there's a little bit of, we've got to go on faith. There's a little bit of struggle, and that struggle's not bad. It's like, you know, the grit making the oyster. It's like tearing the muscle to make it bigger. So it's really having to go on a little bit of faith, which is a higher sense, right? And go, let me just connect to something higher than me. That is a sixth sense, is our intuition, is our inner knowing, whatever we want to call it, and trust it for just a moment. And then here's the thing where the mind can be helpful, is then we check it out. Okay, I got this guidance to text my mom. I don't want to text my mom, you know. I got this guidance to text my mom and just say I love you. And you know, especially if we're in a fight with our mom, and go, well, how did that work?
Yeah.
Well, actually, she then went, oh gosh, you know, when you thought I said X, what I really meant was this, and you know, that really worked. Or I get this guidance to forgive something that seemed unforgivable, and then I ask Spirit to bridge the gap between what I forgive and what's possible. And then it's like this relief and this release starts to come. So we want to check out the guidance. Now, angels are one with God. So they tangibilize God. They are bridge to God. You go, well, why not just go directly to God? Well, if you can go directly to God, please do. But often God will come to us through messengers. Angel literally means messenger of God, right? So they're one with God. And so it just makes it much more tangible for us, right? So an angel will only tell you positive things. And I, by the way, recommend you connect to the highest grade archangels, which I talk about in my book of how do you discern the difference between angels, which, by the way, are collective, don't have individual souls, and archangels, which do, and great archangels. So they will only give you positive. Mother Mary, Jesus, Buddha, by whatever name you know, God will only give you positive direction, and then go check it out. Test it.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Well, in your work, let's talk about angels. In your book, you describe your work as the ancestry.com for archangels. I love that. So what does that mean? And what are people discovering about themselves through your angelic ancestry? I'm very curious.
Sure, absolutely. I think everybody is, because it's an unusual concept, and it really is probably the first of its kind in print. It's not a new concept. Masters have been talking about it. You know, mystics have been talking about it. It just, it's, as far as I'm aware, the first to be put in print, which is a little scary. And I want to say to everybody, you know, whatever that thing is in you, persist, create it, put it out. If it's real for you, and it's scary to be first, it's really scary. But you know, you're not crazy. You're just first, to paraphrase Jamie Kern Lima, the founder of IT Cosmetics. So she was first to use real women instead of models for a cosmetic campaign. So just saying that it's an ancient concept, just that I'm presenting. So the angelic realm is what I mean by ancestry. concept of the angelic is the angelic realm is much more ancient than the human, right? By septillions of years. It's very ancient creation. And your angelic ancestry means you actually can access your celestial heritage well before this life and bring it present. Why? Because a portal has opened in the last several years. So your angelic ancestry means you can start to access who you were in the angelic realm. So bear with me for a moment. So angels, again, are born in a collective, not with individual souls. As an angel evolves to an archangel, that's when they have an individual soul. And so, but it was taking millions of years for angels to evolve into archangels. So in a wild act of faith, many archangels started incarnating into the physical realm and many on earth to learn more about free will, because they gain free will when they're archangels, right? They have an individual soul. We as humans are born oppositely. Angels are born in absolute God consciousness, right? But not with free will. They evolve the free will when they're an archangel. Humans are born with free will. We can whop our baby sister on the head if we want to, right? We have free will once the veil drops. But we're not born in God consciousness. Babies are, but once the veil drops around age 7, we don't remember God with every breath like an angel does. We evolve to that over many lifetimes, right? That God consciousness. So what your angelic ancestry means is that you can access your lifetimes as an archangel, as an angel, and bring it present into now, because the realms are merging. And so there is an open awareness now of the angelic and the human realm. But when we came here as archangels in the flesh, and the first one really was going all the way back to the first human. When we came here, we had to forget the angelic realm because it's basically heaven, and to deal with money and time and space, none of which exist in the angelic realm. Angels can serve within time and space, but they're not subject to it. They're not bound to it. To exist in this realm with all the challenges, if we could still remember the heavens or the angelic realm, would be very difficult. It'd be hard to engage here. So we had to forget it. But now we're in a wondrous time where we can remember it and bring it all present into this lifetime, expediting our awareness of God, our ability to surrender, our ability to bring forward higher messages, to be all the things that we associate with angels: grace-filled, godly, beautiful, etc., and bring it present now, creating more heaven on earth.
That's absolutely beautiful. I definitely think the portal is open and a lot of people are spiritually awakening. Although very few of us remembering that, can you let us know that how can we find out our angelic ancestry, and how do we connect back or remember, where our angelic ancestry comes from?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, that's what the book is about.
Exactly. Get the book.
Yes, and thank you so much for having the book. I appreciate that. So yes, so how we do that, first of all, is openness, right? Being open. Oh, this sounds so weird, but I think there's something to it. So it's being open to it. And then one really simple way is to start bringing forward higher messages yourself. So connecting to angels, of course, and I walk people through this in my book. Like, it's very easy to start with your guardian angel. I do lots of on my YouTube and everywhere meditations to connect pretty much instantly to your guardian angel, then to archangels. Is really not hard because it's our natural, it's who we are, right? And as we connect to the angelic realm, to the archangelic, then we just take that one more divine pause and go, wait, they're not outside of me. I'm not connecting to Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, etc. Outside of me, we're made of the same thing. We're made of the same thing. So I'm going to connect to them within me. And then one really simple way, and I offer a lot of techniques in the book, but one really simple way is to ask them a question. What about this relationship? How do I reconnect to my intuition? What about the state of the world? Whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes this comes at 3 a.m. in the morning when we can't sleep.
Yes.
Take that pause and listen. And then here's the big tip. Speak that message out loud. And you go, well, wait, I can't, I don't know. Just one word at a time. Speak it out loud, because you see, you too are a messenger of God. You too are an angel. And when you speak that message out loud, you go, oh my gosh, I have access to this wisdom, because the angelic part of me always does, right? It's always one with God. And not only that, there's an energetic on the words that is unmistakably celestial and angelic. And you start to go, can I really claim that I am that? Yes. Because you see, it's not the ego. The ego needs to be special at all costs. But the spirit goes, yes, I am one with all that is. And so is everyone else. And so in the book, I do have, give everybody a strong foundation in it. And then I have meditations throughout the book to connect to your guardian angel, archangels, and then your own angelic ancestry, and then your archangelic name. That's really the biggest key. But don't cheat. Got to read all 6 chapters. They're very readable. Lots of stories. On chapter 6, when you have a really firm foundation to remember your name accurately, then you do the meditation. The meditations are in the book. You can read them, but I recommend you go to the QR code and listen to them. And then you receive your archangelic name. See, angels have one name. Humans have many, right? And you receive your archangelic name. That is what opened me up to really hearing the language of the angels. When I was very young adult, in my very early 20s, hearing my angelic name is really what opened up that whole remembrance for me.
Wow, I'm very curious. What is your own archangelic name then?
Well, I mean, I can't share my name here, and I recommend that everybody keep your name very sacred.
Okay.
If you know the name of the wind, you can call it, right? So it can give people power over you. So you never want to share your name, even with your person.
Okay.
And I do talk about that in the book. But the reason we have one angelic name is, remember, humans and angels evolve oppositely. Humans are born to where angels evolve. Angels are born to where humans evolve. So the name is the same. Humans enter the incarnation pattern once. We go, oh, I'm going to help God know God's creation by entering into individuation, right? This body thing. That'll be easy. And then we get here and we're like, that's not so easy. A little rough around the edges here. But very powerful and potent. And so we enter incarnation once. We embody many, many, many times. You were just in Barcelona. So maybe you enter as Juan Rodriguez in Barcelona, and then oops, you slip on a burrito and you wake up and you are Helen Yplan. Did I say that name right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
China, and then beautiful life. And then next life you wake up and you're Susie Smith in Des Moines. We have many different bodies, many different names. Angels are the opposite. Angels enter incarnation every single lifetime, many times, but they have one body. They enter embodiment once. And when their body is complete, their lifetime is complete. I saw this after my mother died. The hearse was pulling her away, a white hearse. And an angel said, do you want to see what angelic death is like? And they showed me that, and my sobs, of course, my mother had just died. My sobs turned to bliss, because they showed me an angel scatters their body to the heavens in silver and white light, and there remains with God until the next lifetime, and they reconfigure the same body from the same body blueprint with the same name and live again. And that's the name we can remember.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Well, I'm personally very curious. I definitely would take the quiz. So for those of you who are interested, definitely also take the quiz and get the book. And the meditation, I think it's really helpful, actually. Personally, I connect with my angels through meditation. That's my main way. And like, what is the angelic language that you describe? And, what role does it play in helping people to reconnect with their angelic heritage?
Yeah. So the angelic language is the language the angels speak as close as human ears and tongue can get. Right. So I do hear it more accurately in my inner hearing than I do my inner senses than I do that I can speak it, but I can't speak it. So Joan of Arc again said, I die for speaking the language of the angels. Many masters have talked about the language of the angels. So there is a language that can be heard and even understood. And so that's the language I started hearing when I was a very young child. And I do talk about it in my book of how when I first started hearing that language, and it actually was very, very deep healing for me. So, but I really started hearing it as a young adult after I heard my name in an angelic workshop. The first and last I took given by somebody else. Then I started giving them on my own. But it is the language that the angels speak telepathically to us. Right. Now, do they speak it to each other? A similar language, but to us, they can speak in this particular language. And then from that language comes a direct transmission of higher knowing, of higher guidance, of higher information, and even more importantly, of a higher transmission. So when I started hearing the language and I, confirmed it with my spiritual teacher, and he said, be very discerning with, he confirmed that it was a language of the angels. He said, be very discerning with whom you speak that out loud, because it transports people to another space. So, and that is what this book came from. I would get down on my knees and surrender and receive the language and then translate it. Some of it is in the direct angel messages in here. And then a lot of it, the angels speak rather formally and very deeply. So it would be hard to read a 300-page book all with angelic messages. So then I would take it in and make it very accessible, very simple, very readable. And then the rest is stories of people opening up to their own angelic ancestry, very, took stories word for word from different clients and participants. And that's the book. So when you hear your name, you're hearing a few syllables of the angelic language.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so you describe also in the book, there were stories for people who connect with their angelic ancestry. Do you see like any transformation or, stories like basically like living examples of people once they connect with their angelic ancestry, what changed in their daily life?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, I have hundreds of stories, and several of which are in the book. So, for example, I had a client, Grace, and so Grace came to me. She was very young. She was about 15 with 5 suicide attempts. She was from a very big family in Los Angeles. And so she had access to the best counselors, et cetera. And, just was very troubled. And I looked at her and I saw that she had open access to her archangelic heritage. And so when I shared that with her in a way she could receive as a 15-year-old, she looked at me, being this very sophisticated Hollywood kid. And I said, how does that land with you? And she said, well, it's way out there and it's really weird, but I feel hopeful for the first time. And her eyes welled up. And she said, so yeah. And she started coming to me every week. She never hurt herself again. That was about 10 years ago. She's starting her own company. She's thriving. And, she shares what she can with others, but mostly it's just this inner knowing and this access to the archangel she's closest to. And in your angelic ancestry, you not only connect with your own ancestry, but also from which great archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Mirael, the angel of light. There's other angels whose names I got from the angelic who've been serving in relative anonymity until now. So you connect with those you have heritage with. And so when she starts feeling troubled, she really opens up to her heritage and realizes she doesn't have to take her body to go back to heaven. She can bring it here. she can bring the angelic here and experience it while she's in a human body. And that brings her great comfort and the courage to go on.
That's absolutely beautiful. Now, I know that there is also people who are skeptical about this concept. Now, for those who are skeptic about this, what would you say that, basically, like, what would you tell them about this particular type of work?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I totally understand being skeptical. And again, we don't want to leave our mind at the door. We want to discern what is true.
Okay.
And so, but the mind can only go so far. So if you're skeptical, I would say this to you. First of all, I get it 100%. Again, sharing a very scientific background. So I would say, so there's a recent poll by the AP, the Associated Press, and the NORC, University of Chicago, showing that 69% of U.S. adults believe in angels. I got to imagine it's 99% of U.S. kids, but this was a poll done in the U.S. So that is more people than believe in God. So if you have this belief that transcends religion, socioeconomic status, gender, culture, etc., there's probably something to it. Also, it goes through all religions. There are certainly angels in Christianity and Judaism and the Kabbalah and Islam. They say that Muhammad received the Quran dictated to him in a beautiful language. I think it was the angelic language. Muhammad was an illiterate man. It wasn't in Islam. In Islamic, it was in a different language. And even in Hinduism, I recently did a live stream with an indigenous healer. They're also an indigenous culture. So when people and religions agree on something that really don't agree on much else, there's probably something to it, right? So I would say, be a little open to this concept. And then if people are like, well, yeah, of course I believe in angels, but I don't know about me being an angel. I go, well, check it out. Don't believe me. Check it out. If there's even a sliver of you going, there just seems something to this. And I've been doing a lot of podcasts and some media and, where people are going, where I'm presenting this and they're going, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, really? Because I thought I was weird. And they're like, well, you are weird, but that makes a lot of sense. It is an out there concept, but it's also got this deep resonance where people are like, yeah, that's beautiful. That I feel that. And so I would say, if you have that sliver of curiosity, in the prologue, which is a message from Archangel Michael, which came from the angelic language, he says, this book is a metamorphosis of consciousness, an ascension of awareness. All that is asked is your openness. All that is asked is your openness. And so really, if you have just a little bit of openness, check it out, do the meditations. Even if you don't have the book, just take a walk, often in nature, or just sit in a chair and just open and go, let me just be open. If there's anything to this, just let me know in a way I can receive and perceive, send me a knowing. And then you might receive it right then, or it might be when you're taking a walk later or doing the dishes or, drifting off to sleep. So you just keep being open to the possibility. And then of course you can, if you get some sort of go ahead, then you can pick up the book. It's everywhere books are sold, and just start reading and see if it resonates. Don't believe me, make it your own. And the book is very interactive. There's lots of meditations, as mentioned. There's lots of exercises, angel moments, lots of ways where you make it your own, because we want to prioritize experience, not information. Information can be cool, captivating to the mind, but it only goes so far. So once you start to experience the truth of it, then your mind starts to understand it. It's like falling in love. Like, remember when you wanted to fall in love, you're like, I have to understand what that means to fall in love, and how do I fall in love, and what happens? And then you fall in love and you don't know what hits you. And you're like, oh my God, I think now I kind of understand love. Because you had to experience it first, not figure it out with your mind. Good luck with that with love, right?
Yes.
Experience it and then go, oh, now I get it. a little bit,
Mhm.
figuring love out for the rest of my life, but now I get it. So spiritual experiences, as you know, Helen, it's
Yes.
the same thing. Once we start to experience that which goes beyond words, then we start to understand it.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And I love that analogy of like falling in love. That's really feel like that. I remember my first direct experience with spirit because I did not grow up religious or spiritual, like not in a household that
Mhm.
will go to church every Sunday. So the first time I did a group meditation, that was back in 2011, when I was in my yoga and meditation teacher training. I just felt something was bigger than me, was holding me the whole time. And that was actually my first time feel home, like feel
Mm,
like I'm finally home. But
mm,
that home in a sense, not a physical place. It's
yeah.
just like immense unconditional love.
Mm,
There is no judgment, absolutely safe and secure. And I haven't felt that for a long, long time. And that I would say the direct experience. And I
yeah.
cannot, like at the time my third eye wasn't open yet, or I did not have my Kundalini awakening yet. So I just know that there is something sweet out there that I want to go back to. And that's actually when I begin my daily meditation practice. All I wanted to is just to go back to that sweet spot to
What?
like I feel home. Um,
Mhm.
and that took also many years later on, then I understand, oh, that's the connection with the spirit, with the spirit realm, with the angels, with the ascended masters. But at the very beginning, I have absolutely no clue. I just love that it's very similar to love, but it's unconditional. Like you don't need to give something in order to have.
Mhm.
So, which is absolutely beautiful. So, for those of you, if you have any curiosity, remain this openness. And that's a beautiful channel message, Alicia. I love that quote that you just read. And try it out, definitely try it out. Try out the meditation also. I think the guided meditation that now we channel, especially for any spiritual teachers who have connecting with their guides and angels, when they channel, I feel that the energy is very different than
Yeah.
you just sit there and listen to a guided meditation. Because as you mentioned, that when you channel, you kind of bring people to another space. It's almost like, you bring the angels with you
Mhm.
and bring them into a different space. So that's absolutely beautiful. Now, I know that a lot of the audience in my podcast or in my work, they always want to figure out their soul's purpose. that's
Right.
that's why they're here, right? A lot of us, let me put it that way. People, they are searching for their soul's purpose. And do you believe that purpose is something that we create or something that we remember? And what role does the angelic heritage play in that process?
Yes, beautiful question. I believe that I believe it's both, actually. I
Okay.
think it's both and. So I'll start with the angelic and then speak more in general. So I think that the purpose of every soul is to wake up. I think we all share that purpose, to wake up and recall that we are divine, that we are divine, that we are godly, that we are one with universal life force, whatever we want to call it. It's all the same, by the way. I think
Yeah,
all
I agree. We are one.
are one. All religions are. I mean, I myself am half Indian, East Indian, and half English, right? So I'm an East-West blend. I did my ancestry my ancestry.com for myself, and it was very boring. It was like, yep, you're half Indian and half English, so very East-West. And it's like, so all religions are one, all names of God are one. And so our purpose as souls is to wake up to our spiritual heritage, by whatever name you want to call it. Our individual purpose, I believe we were each born with an individual purpose, what God wanted to learn through us, right? And that spirit moves through us in a way it does not through anybody else. And that is our purpose. We are learning for God. Now, going to the angelic, when we hear our angelic name, that gives us clues to what was that purpose when God spoke us into existence in the angelic realm. There was a purpose. God is going to explore this domain of spirit through us. Over thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lifetimes in the angelic, in the human, on Mars, in the astral, in the 14th level above soul, right? All over. So it's like we go back to that purpose and manifest that for God. So our angelic name gives us huge clues into our purpose. And it's usually much loftier than we think. It's usually like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But you got to realize it's over all your lifetimes.
Yes.
And God is not limited by your limitations. Thank goodness. Thank God.
Yes.
Right? And so, yes, so when I say it's both and, we're born with a purpose that is written, but how we get there and how fast is determined by our free choice.
I love that. I totally resonate with it. It's, just in my book, also in my work, I said that collectively we have this purpose to evolve, eventually to awaken, to connect with God. That's collective mission. But also individually, when you mention about, God is like what God wants to learn through our personal experiences. It reminds me of the different soul gift archetypes in the Aura Color Wheel system, right? Just like you were born a healer with emerald green ray of light. And by the way, when you're wearing your soul aura color, you're more radiant. That's why, no wonder you said it's one of your favorite colors, right? So it's like, that's when you are, I would say that finally reclaim your soul gift archetype. Like, this is what I was born to be, instead of hiding in your shell, what am I good enough to be this? Right. And I still remember that, I was born an artist, and that's all I wanted to do. But I went to PhD because, that's the only legitimate, like job. You need to, Asian cultures, you need to be MDs, lawyers.
100%. You're only allowed to be an MD or a lawyer as an Indian.
Exactly. So I just followed that. Yes. But is it your free? Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's your own choice. Like, in terms of the timing, when and how. It's based on your choice. So one day I finally stand up to myself and say that F that, I'm not doing any of those anymore. I just going to step out and claim myself that I am an artist. I'm a feng shui interior designer. And then I went to an event where no one knows me at the time, right? Because I was just in my school, in my PhD program. I went to a creative event where there was creative entrepreneurs. And I tell people that I'm a feng shui interior designer. And that's when I get my first contract, like ever. Like, even my LLCs haven't formed yet. It's like, I don't care. Yeah. So like, I'm like, okay, I'm this. And that's when the universe rise up to meet you. It's almost like you were. And I love this combination of the purpose is both of remembering and also, create like your personal free choice. Yes. And the combination requires a little bit of leap of faith, to be honest. Like, it does require some courage, because you don't know, people always afraid of the unknown, because you don't know, once I take out this, whether something good is going to come out of it, right? So, so for those of you who are listening, take this as a great encouragement. So take your leap of faith, and don't, if you want to get there faster, just do it. If you hear that guidance, please go ahead and do it.
1,000,000%. Because, and we need you. Everybody come forward at this time, because we need you. It's a pivotal time on our planet.
Yes.
Where we can turn the tide of the planet to light, or there does seem to be a lot of darkness. But the more light workers there are, the more people fully living their purpose, the more we turn the tide of the planet to light at this pivotal time together.
Yeah, that's another thing, is that since we are like, I totally agree. That's the vision that I envision, that we all are light bulbs, and we are like connecting with each other and become a big ball of light. That's the vision that I always see. So what your call is, absolutely, I'm so in alignment with your call. Like, everybody should come in and, shine your light. But at the same time, I also want to ask you this question, is that I also don't want to go overboard, because like there was some spiritual bypassing and spiritual ego, let me put it that way, that people use this spirituality going too far and, you know, have this sense of that I'm someone special or I am the one being chosen. So how do we navigate, you know, like yes, you awaken, you're rising up, but at the same time, you're still being humble, because I believe God is super humble. That's if I'm one of him, he's one of me, then that's how I felt. So how do you navigate this, you know, distinction of like turning into a spiritual ego or sense that I'm the one being chosen?
Yeah, well, I love that question because it is not asked enough. And spiritual bypass is very prevailing in a lot of spiritual circles. And I've been in privileged to be at the heart of a few spiritual circles, you know, spiritual paths for 30 years, 35 years, much of my life. And so I think we have to be very careful, because the ego can step in and go, well, now I am the one. And the thing is, you are the one, as is every single other 9 billion one on this planet. So one thing I love that my spiritual teacher used to say is ordinariness is the prior condition to God. So, you know, again, the ego wants to be special at all costs. If the ego can't be the greatest of the great, the ego will be like the lowest of the low. Then I suck worse than everybody, because the ego just wants to be special, individual. Ego's not bad. It's a tool along the way to enlightenment, right? So we need to be very careful and go, I'm being called into this lofty thing. Awesome. That makes me very ordinary. That makes me one, you know, I was riding in Santa Barbara with horses with my teacher once, and this was decades and decades ago. And I said, would you ever want a book or a movie written about your life? Because he had this extraordinary life, like all kinds of miracles and healings and awakenings. And he turned to me and he said, nah, I'm an ordinary guy. And I'm like, you are far from an ordinary guy. He said, now I'm an ordinary guy. I do extraordinary things, but I'm an ordinary guy. And it was like, to me, that was the consciousness. I'm being called into this extraordinary thing. And I'm not doing it. You know, it's in the Bible, it's like, of myself, I do nothing. You know, and there's, for me, again, I'm half Indian, half English. So I'm always looking at different spiritual texts. They all say the same thing. Like, there is this positive force that moves through each of us that is not unique to any of us. So we just want to check ourselves. If it's like, I am now going to lead the next mass exodus to Venus, go, well, wait, is that my spiritual calling? It is. Awesome. I'm going to put one foot in front. I'm going to do what I'm being guided to do. And I'm going to realize that I'm not doing it. I can't do it. Of myself, I can do nothing. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. That one that moves through every one of us is doing it.
I love that. Yeah. Be the channel and the servant of that one divine source, but not the servant of your own ego. That's absolutely beautiful.
Right.
Yep. That's the message. Yeah, sometimes I can even feel like when you're channeling, when you're speaking, and when you are speaking more from the logical brain, and when you're channeling divine wisdom. I love that, that connection. That's absolutely beautiful. Now, at the heart of the book, the idea, you know, that you mentioned, and I so resonate with you, is that we are guided, we are supported, and we are connected to something that's greater than ourselves. So what do you hope the readers to remember about themselves after the final pages of the book?
I would like the angels to answer that, if that's okay.
Oh, I love that. Yes, go ahead.
You are complete, you are whole, you are home, even as you reside in a body, temple, on this consecrated earth. You don't need to leave here to go to heaven. Heaven is here where you are within you, animating all that is. It is time to wake up, to wake up, to wake up to the truth that you are born the beloved, that you are love manifesting through every experience that you have. Do not judge your experiences. You bring every experience home to God. You are divine. You are consecrated. You are blessed. We angels are with you every step, with every breath, with every difficult thought, with every hard feeling. We are with you, breathing light, bringing love, bringing comfort. If you would be comforted, call upon angels, your guardian angel, all the angels. If you would be one with a comforter, the Holy Spirit, call upon the great angels, the great archangels. If you would know yourself as God, take a moment, open to the space between the notes, and realize God is bringing you home with every breath, and we will assist. Amen.
And so it is.
And so it is.
That's beautiful. It makes me cry. It's a lot of heart energy, I receive it fully. And I'm sure the audience will receive this as well. This is absolutely beautiful. And I can't wait to meet you in person, Alicia. I want to give you a hug.
In person, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. We absolutely need to find time. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for that channeling message. And for those of you who want to, definitely purchase the book and want to get deeper into your work, do you have anything like, I definitely will put your website on, what you're offering, tell the audience how they can find you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My website, aliciadoss.com. The book is available everywhere if they want bonuses. And then then go to my website and just enter a very simple form that says I bought a book or I bought 4 books. I'm actually about to start 3 live classes with me where people can ask me anything, including about their own angelic ancestry, if they buy 4 books. So that's on my website. They can buy the books at Amazon or Barnes & Noble or on Hay House's site, wherever they like. And then they just go back to my website and fill in the form that says I bought 4 books. And then we will know to send them the links to those 3 classes, which will start in August. There's no charge for them. It's just for buying 4 books.
Oh, wow. Okay. Definitely support the offers. And I would definitely put all the links and your offers in the show note as well. Thank you so much for coming on this episode. I definitely would like to bring you back on and we can talk even more about the angels.
Absolutely. And auras. And I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow.
That's right. Exactly. I will be on Alicia Does podcast tomorrow as a guest. So yeah, and definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation again.
Absolutely. And I think we should go live tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. We're just like deciding this in this moment, everybody.
Okay. So we just decided right now.
Right now. So tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Yeah,
we'll be live and you'll get to hear all about Helen and your aura color wheel and everything else tomorrow at 3 p.m. on our Instagrams and Facebooks and YouTube. So
that's great. So, okay. So we will see you back tomorrow, everybody. And thank you, Avocado Toast, to saying thank you, Helen and Alicia. Okay. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to, chat with you tomorrow. And thank you for those of you who tuning with us live and those of you who are going to listen to the audio version. And feel free to leave any comments and rate the podcast. So that way, if you have any questions, we can answer you later. And have a very blissful rest of your week. And I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.